Imagine a vast land, a tapestry of forests, steppes and rivers stretching across Eastern Europe. This was the land the Vikings sailed through in the 9th century. They were skilled navigators and fierce warriors seeking trade routes and new settlements. In 862 AD, Viking chieftain Rurik established his rule in Novgorod. This marked the beginning of Kievan Rus, a federation of Slavic and Finnic tribes. Centered around Kiev, Kievan Rus became a major power in Eastern Europe. The fusion of Viking and Slavic traditions laid the foundation for a distinct Russian identity.
The year 988 AD marked a pivotal moment in Russian history. I, Vladimir the Great, ruler of Kievan Rus, decided to adopt Christianity as the official religion of my realm. I chose Eastern Orthodox Christianity, influenced by the Byzantine Empire's cultural and religious grandeur. This decision had far-reaching consequences, shaping the course of Russian history and identity. The adoption of Christianity brought literacy, education, and Byzantine art and architecture to Russia. Churches and monasteries became centers of learning, and the Cyrillic alphabet, developed by Byzantine missionaries, became the foundation of the Russian language. This cultural shift tied Russia closely to the Orthodox world, distinguishing it from Catholic Western Europe.
The 13th century brought a new force to the east, the Mongols. Led by Genghis Khan, the Mongol Empire swept across Asia, conquering vast territories. In 1240, Batu Khan reached Kievan Rus. The Mongols sacked and burned cities, including Kiev. Kievan Rus fragmented, paying tribute to the Mongol overlords. This period, known as the Mongol Yoke, lasted over 2 centuries. As Kievan Rus crumbled, a new power center emerged in the northeast, the Grand Duchy of Moscow. Moscow's rise was gradual, a combination of shrewd diplomacy, strategic alliances, and a favorable geographic location. The princes of Moscow, starting with Ivan I, skillfully navigated the complex web of Mongol politics, gaining favor and influence. They collected taxes on behalf of the Mongols, consolidating their power and expanding their territory. Moscow's strategic location, nestled amidst forests and rivers, provided natural defenses against invaders. The city also benefited from the decline of other Russian principalities, attracting artisans, merchants, and nobles seeking stability and opportunity. By the late 15th century, Moscow had emerged as the dominant power in the region, finally casting off the Mongol yoke in 1480 under Ivan III the Great. Section 5. Tsars, Troubles, and a New Dynasty. Ivan IV, crowned Tsar in 1547, expanded Russia into a vast empire. He centralized power and conquered territories, reaching the Caspian Sea. Known as Ivan the Terrible, his reign was marked by brilliance and brutality. Ivan's death in 1584 plunged Russia into chaos. The time of troubles brought famine, civil war, and foreign intervention. In 1613, Michael Romanov was elected Tsar, starting the Romanov dynasty. Section 6. Peter the Great, a window to the west, ascended to the throne in 1682. Determined to modernize Russia, he traveled extensively in Europe, immersing himself in Western culture and technology, modernized the army and navy, built St. Petersburg as a window to the west, and encouraged Western customs, transformed Russia into a major European power.
Section 7. Catherine the Great, Legacy of Expansion. I, Catherine II, known as Catherine the Great, was another towering figure in Russian history. A German princess by birth, I ascended to the Russian throne in 1762 after the death of my husband, Peter III. I was a shrewd politician and a patron of the arts and sciences. I continued Peter the Great's modernization efforts, promoting education, codifying laws, and expanding Russia's borders through wars and diplomacy.
Catherine's reign saw the Russian Empire reach its greatest territorial extent, incorporating Crimea, parts of Poland, and lands in the Caucasus. She corresponded with Enlightenment thinkers like Voltaire and Diderot, implementing some of their ideas into her policies and earning the moniker of an enlightened despot. However, her reign was also marked by peasant uprisings, highlighting the growing social tensions within the empire. Section 8. From Napoleon to Asia, a growing empire. By the 19th century, Russia had established itself as a major player on the European stage. During the Napoleonic Wars, Russia played a pivotal role in defeating Napoleon's invasion in 1812. The French Emperor's disastrous campaign, culminating in the burning of Moscow, became a testament to the resilience of the Russian people and the vastness of the Russian landmass. While consolidating its position in Europe, Russia also continued its expansion eastward. Throughout the 19th century, Russian explorers, traders, and settlers pushed into Central Asia and the Far East. This expansion brought Russia into contact with new cultures and resources, but also led to conflicts with neighboring empires, including the British Empire in Central Asia, known as the Great Game. Section 9: Reform, Revolution, and the Seeds of Change. The 19th century witnessed growing social and political unrest in Russia. Serfdom became untenable with industrialization. Tsar Alexander II emancipated the serfs in 1861. However, the reforms did not go far enough. Russia's defeat in the Russo-Japanese War triggered the 1905 revolution. The revolution forced the Tsar to establish the Duma. These reforms set the stage for the events of 1917. Section 10: The Soviet Century, From Triumph to Collapse. The year 1917 marked a watershed moment in Russian and world history. The First World War had exacerbated the existing social and political tensions within Russia, leading to food shortages, economic collapse, and widespread discontent with the Tsarist regime.
In February 1917, a revolution toppled the Romanov dynasty, ending centuries of Tsarist rule.
A provisional government was established, but it proved unable to address the country's deep-seated problems. In October 1917, the Bolsheviks, led by Vladimir Lenin, seized power in a second revolution. The Bolsheviks, a radical socialist party, promised peace, land and bread to the war-weary and impoverished population.
We signed a peace treaty with Germany, withdrew from World War I, and established the world's first communist state, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, or Soviet Union.
Section 11: A New Russia Emerges. The collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 marked the end of an era. Decades of economic stagnation, political repression, and ethnic tensions had weakened the Soviet system from within. Mikhail Gorbachev's reforms, intended to revitalize the Soviet Union, inadvertently hastened its demise. Gorbachev's policies of glasnost, or openness, and perestroika, or restructuring, unleashed forces that he could not control. The fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 and the subsequent collapse of communist regimes in Eastern Europe signaled the end of the Cold War. The Soviet Union, weakened by internal divisions and economic woes, could no longer hold its vast empire together. In December 1991, the Soviet Union officially dissolved, replaced by 15 independent republics, including the Russian Federation, the largest and most powerful of the former Soviet republics. Section 12: The Putin Era and Beyond. The post-Soviet era has been a time of immense change and upheaval for Russia. The transition from a centrally planned economy to a market-based system proved painful, leading to economic hardship and social dislocation. Boris Yeltsin, Russia's first president, presided over a period of economic liberalization and privatization, but also faced challenges from corruption, crime, and separatist movements. In 2000, Vladimir Putin, a former KGB officer, came to power, ushering in an era of stability and economic growth. Putin consolidated power, reasserted central authority, and benefited from rising oil and gas prices, which fueled Russia's economic recovery.
However, his rule has also been marked by increasing authoritarianism, restrictions on freedom of speech and assembly, and a more assertive foreign policy.
Section 13: Russia Today, a complex legacy. Russia today stands at a crossroads. It is a country grappling with its past, seeking to define its place in the world. The legacy of its history, from the Vikings to the Tsars to the Soviet Union, continues to shape its identity and influence its choices. Russia's vast natural resources, its strategic location, and its cultural heritage give it a unique position on the global stage.
However, challenges remain. Economic inequality, corruption, and political repression continue to be pressing issues. Russia's relations with the West remain strained, particularly in the wake of its annexation of Crimea in 2014 and its ongoing war in Ukraine.
As Russia navigates the complexities of the 21st century, its actions will have profound implications for its own people and for the world.